Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today I want to talk about Torchlight 3. Torchlight 3 is a top-down or isometric view action RPG in the similar vein to like Diablo and other games like that, and it is obviously the third one in a series of Torchlight games. Now, I'm a big fan of games like this. I like these kind of games that basically you go out in the wild, you beat the crap out of a bunch of enemies, you get skill points, all kinds of fun things like that. I am a huge fan of Torchlight 2. I think Torchlight 2 is a really excellent game, and I think that and Grim Dawn are probably two of my favourite action RPGs. So obviously I was really excited when Torchlight 3 got announced. Originally it was meant to be some kind of like MMO thing, but they've turned it into a more traditional game. And this has led to some good and bad things. Now, I'm here today to tell you what I like about this game and what I don't like about it, and just give you some thoughts on the game as a whole. Now, first off, I will say I do like this game. I think this game is very fun. It has some really, really cool ideas, but it has been marred down with some bugs and some issues. But we'll talk about the positive stuff first, and then we'll go over the things that need to be improved afterwards. There are 4 classes in this game to start with. I am playing as the Rail Master. The way the Rail Master works is that you have the ability, you have 3 different skill trees, 2 of which are class specific, and then one, which is this Bane one, is not. So this Conductor class, the whole point of this is you can have a train follow you around. It's like a little minecart, and you can upgrade these to have different trains on it. So I've got a mortar car and a standard one, there's a shotgun one, there's a flamethrower one, and I believe there's a shield one. And certain cars do not work. You can't have the this one with the shotgun car, and you can't have the flamethrower one with the mortar. And then you get other abilities, and this is all about having trains and spawning train stuff. The other one is Slammer, and this is different things that you have to do with the weapon you're using. So in this case, Pound, that slams down. We've got a Dynamite one, we've got a Spin one, we've got flying pickaxes. You see there's all these different abilities here. So you have 2 skill trees, and as you put points into those skills, you gain bonuses. So in the basic train, you see you have Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Tier 1 is more damage, or passive attack speed, sorry. Then it's 20% damage to conductor skills, so all of my conductor skills gain that buff. And then lastly, the main turret shots will pierce for 10 seconds after using active train skills. So if I use the ability, any of these actives down here, this will now pierce all the things. And they all have cool things, like the mortar car, for example, and this has like extra damage. It has 10% cooldowns for the skills, and all these different things. So it's actually really worth, these tier bonuses make these skills even better, because a lot of the time you put points into it, all you're doing is gaining damage until you get X amount of things, and you gain a passive ability. For my Ghost Train, for example, I get an extra charge now that it is level 4. But when I get, level 4 there. So Tier 2 is when I put one more point into it to make it level 5, I get 10% increased attack speed for train cars. So that means upgrading this, not only does this get better, but it affects my other skills. That's really cool. That's something I think they did with the second game. It might be a bit more in depth. So in terms of skills, this class, the Rail Master, is absolutely like one of the best things about this game is these classes. The 3 other ones are, there's like a Ranger Bow Lady. So, by the way, I've been playing this game primarily online with both Jax, aka Don Hayes, and Dave, aka Fruity. I've been playing the Rail Master. Dave has been playing the Forged, which is like a mechanical robot dude who has instead of mana, has like a steam vent, so you can use the abilities and he builds up steam, and that looks really cool. You have like a brawling version and a ranged version of him. And Jack's been playing the Archer, or like assassin type character who has a bow or like guns and stuff, and has some crazy abilities like that. Very, very mobile class. And the other one is the Dusk Mage, which has light and dark, magic. But you also get this extra skill tree, and this is the Relic skill tree. I went for Bane, which is all about poison. So I've got like a poison defense thing. I haven't really gone too much into this, but you have like poison and fire and ice and vitality damage and all that kind of stuff, and each one gives you different things. I go with poison. Really, I should be looking to see if I get poison defense, because that's annoying. But all I can say about the classes are very fun, they're very interesting, they're very unique. See this little here, Rail Master Endurance here? I don't get mana, I have this. When endurance builds up, it means that like I can activate skills and they're better. For example, the Dynamite Throw, when I have that up, will chuck out more dynamite and stuff like that. So the class system in this game is excellent. I really, really like what they've done. Feels like an upgrade from the second game. So that's really cool. On top of this, they have added something called Legendarium. Now this is really interesting. This is whenever you pick up an item that has a legendary ability, you can equip those abilities here. You can see I have Battery Ram and I have Doom Pipe. So Doom Pipe makes the mortar and the flamethrower car always gain their endurance bonus when activated and do not spend endurance, which means with the mortar car in this instance, normally if you activate it, it will fire out one shot. If you have endurance, it will fire out multiple shots. This makes it that every time I activate it, it always fires out multiple shots. Now the way that this works is, when you pick up an item that has a legendary kind of ability on it, you can then pick from that list. So here is the list of things I can have from all these different items that I've picked up. This one here gives me +1 skill to all conductor skills, which is hugely useful if you want to get those extra bonuses in there. Flying picks gains this, you know, there's all of this stuff. There's tons of stuff. And you keep gaining these, it will tell you when you get a new one. Pet is immune to poison damage, you know, stuff like that. Pets is something else, but we'll get to that. You can see there's tons and tons of stuff. There's loads of bunch here that I haven't even got. So there's that. So that's another way of getting extra skills. Now, I will say the Legendarium system is a little bit divisive because it doesn't necessarily explain itself overly well. If you have a set of armor on, you're not using these abilities unless you select them, and being level 40, I gotta say this is a bit too late. This is something I don't like. I think being like, maybe, well, I'm level 31 now. I think every 10 levels, or like 5, 15, 30 would make much more sense to be able to have that, because you only have 3 slots. It's a cool idea, and I think it's an interesting way of doing it. I don't know how I feel about it completely because I haven't played the entire game yet. I am about 10-12 hours in, so, but the idea of it is cool. But yeah, it might be I can see the other guys aren't as fond of it as I am. Like, I like the idea of having you, when you pick up an item, you get a legendary ability and you stick it in there, and you can choose which one you want depending on your build. Lastly, you have pet skills, which is kind of cool. So I have a little I don't know what I've got. It's cat. There we go, cat. And you have these different pet skills. Now you can have one. I think it's one passive, and the rest are active skills, I believe. Oh no, I've got all actives here, but I believe you can have one passive. And you have to tame pets to get certain skills. So these are the only ones I can use at the moment. These two I haven't unlocked. But there are tons of different pets. You find them along the way. You can go to my fort, which I'll show after, later on, something you can do. And you have these different pets, and you can have like cats and dogs and llamas and bats and all kinds of crazy things like that. So they're back from the second game as well, and they obviously can carry stuff for you, and they have these abilities that will activate and stuff when they're in combat and help you out and things like that. So very, very useful indeed. Also, we have the social side of things. We have the map. This is the map of the world. There are 3 areas. The areas are fairly big. I'd say each area probably about 8 hours each, I'm gonna guess. You can see I'm quite close to finishing this area off, actually. So yeah, maybe it's about 5 hours each. I will say this, unfortunately the first 2 areas are forests. So it's like, even though they do look different, yours in the forest, this third area here with the mountains looks pretty good, but I haven't got there yet. Fairly easy map. Did take a little bit of time for me to figure out you have to use the mouse wheel to scroll. Also, lastly here, contracts. I can claim things to go in my inventory. These things give me items, which I've not got enough to claim that. But you have different contracts, and these are completely, there's no paying these. They just keep going. You just unlock a bunch of stuff in game. These are all different items for things. And they unlock different bits and bobs that you can put into your fort, as well as other extra things. And you can switch the contract to be, I have the adventurous one here, and I have the homesteader one and the craftsman one. I've been doing homestead recently just because I want to make my fort look all nice, but we'll get to that later. This is your inventory. This is your different things you can select. You will see that there is a massive lack of inventory space. We will get to that later. But you have your inventory, the pet one, we have the potions and consumables, and then your resources, which is a ridiculous amount. Anyway, and this is my character currently looking at. So let's go out into the battlefield here, and I've got a quest in the bog. Why have I got a quest there? That's interesting. The Hived Hatchery's there. Okay, cool. Well, that's fine. Let's go to the Bogwood Hollow. I can do this quest. So let me show you a bit of the gameplay of what this is like, and then we can kind of go from there. And yeah, and I can show you kind of what the game is. You should get a good idea and a feel for what this kind of game is, basically. It's like, if you've played an action RPG, you know what you're getting into. But I will say, like I said, the Railmaster, I can only speak to the Railmaster, is a lot of fun. So, let's summon my train. Here is my train cart that will now follow me around, and it will attack things. And, yeah. You can see that already, this is probably looking very much like the kind of game you expect. This particular area on the map is all about poison. It is bloody annoying. So, my standard attack is to whack things with the hammer. Oh yeah, gold. Gold's interesting. Gold in this game, you can only have 20,000 gold. Gold is primarily used to buy stuff within your fort. You can use it to buy other things, but you will most likely find it all out into the wild. And this is probably a good and a bad thing, depending on how you look at it, because honestly, gold in this game, these kind of games, has always been a bit shit, because you never really need it. Oh, here's a boss. So let's fight this boss while I'm at it. Now, I'm probably a bit over leveled for this dude, I imagine. So we can show off some abilities. This is my shield. This is the chucking the bombs, and I can do that a couple times. Chuck the bombs on top of him. My favourite ability is this ghost train. It comes out, runs over everybody. And then we also have a shotgun car shot as well. So the nice thing about the minecart car rail track thing that's following me around is you can't be killed. And this is the mortar one, which will fire. There we go. Perfect XP. And the mortar car there. So what makes that thing so good is the fact that it can't be killed, which means that as a single player, I know I'm in multiplayer at the moment, but in single player, if you do decide to play this game, this is a good class to play, because you'll always have this little car, and as you upgrade it, it gets more powerful, and it can't be killed. You can choose to stop it whenever you want by hitting that, and it will stay there and defend an area. When you push it again, it will come back to you. And it's a lot of fun, and as you can see, it follows you around, and it has the 3 different guns on it. So I've got the mortar on it, it's got the normal gun and the shotgun. Shotgun being the one car I have hardly upgraded, but I imagine it's probably pretty good. While I remember, is the map of this area. Every time you always get a new instance of an area. So for me to like walk around here, I'd have to like try and rediscover the map. Having said that, this particular area where that boss was the same as last time. So yeah, hopefully you can see that this is the kind of... It's quite straightforward. You've seen a few different abilities. I haven't really talked much about the graphics. I actually think the art style is a little bit worse than the second one, but only a little bit. They are going for a very similar sort of that very cartoony, very vibrant colour kind of look. And all in all, like, I don't hate it. I think the game looks fairly decent. A lot of people have said it looks like a mobile game. I don't know if this game's on mobile. I know it's on Switch, as well as pretty much every other console. But all in all, I think it looks fine. I think the game's very easy to tell. There are maybe sometimes it gets a bit crazy on screen, and that needs to change a little bit. But all in all, it's totally. I like the art style. Everything looks very, like I said, clean and easy to understand. And I'm not struggling to see what I'm doing. Let's just go and find a few more enemies and show off a bit more of the combat, and then we can maybe talk about things that this game needs to improve on, because there are certainly plenty of things that need to be improved. Oh, there's some dudes. Let's wait on these guys for a little bit. Let's fire the ghost train. Whee! And if you have charges, which I did in that case, endurance charges make that train a lot longer. So this is why endurance is really, really useful. That's why you want it, because it just empowers all your abilities. And obviously, I'm over leveled for this area, so I'm just gonna mow through some dudes. And I believe when you're over leveled in the area, you don't get any XP, so I'm not gonna get any XP for like killing any of this stuff. But it doesn't matter, it's fun. The combat feels weighty. I'm obviously using a mallet, so the actual on-screen abilities, when he just like flips and shows off. But yeah, let's kill a few more dudes, and then we'll talk about things that definitely need to be improved, and things that I do not like about this game, unfortunately, which is a shame, because all in all, I do think this game is pretty good, but you can definitely tell that I think it's come out of early access and into full price a little bit too early. Now, I imagine they probably needed to do that because of money and stuff like that, but bear in mind, I think a lot of the team that worked on because it actually changed studios. The original studio shut down, and they became a part of a different studio, but I think a lot of the original guys worked on it. Just kill these guys off here, and then you, and then we'll be done. Shotgun him. Okay, perfect. Alright. So, let's talk about the problems with this game. Firstly, playing this in multiplayer, while fun, has real issues. You will see on the right hand side of my screen here, it says optional grubs. Go to the Hived hatchery, collect these eggs. I have already done this quest, but it did not trigger, and this is a problem that both me and Dave and Jack have run into multiple times. If I run into a dungeon and defeat a boss and those guys come in late, they will not get credit for doing that quest, which means they then have to leave the party to go and do something else. So obviously now we try to make sure that we're all together. On top of that, sometimes those guys will fight a boss. This has happened once. I joined, I got the quest achieved. Didn't happen for Dave, even though he was there. In this instance, I collected this quest, got all the bits for it, and it triggered, and I didn't activate for me. For some reason, I've got to do it again. There is some issues with questing and instancing going on here, and it is kind of frustrating. I will be honest, I've had it happen the least. This is the first time it's happened with a quest with me. Primarily, the only bugs that I've had have been visual things, where some stuff's been invisible, fallen through the ground, or some audio bugs. Nothing too game-breaking, but obviously this completely ruins the pacing of the game when you have to leave your party and go and do other quests. So that's not great, and I will say that's probably one of the most frustrating things that's happened. It's definitely ruining some of the fun we're having, because it just goes to show the game's lacking a little bit of polish. In some areas it's great, in other areas not so much. Let's talk about inventory. This is the inventory space that you have. This is not enough inventory space at all, and you can't get any more to my knowledge, and your pet has the same inventory and is very limited. In which case, you're constantly hearing, I cannot pick this up, I have no room, I cannot put this in my inventory. Way more than you should. Even the second game gives you upgrades for it. I do not know why this has not got more upgrade space. The way that the inventory is done is a bit awful, because I feel like the stats here, you can hide the stats, which is fine. There's all this space. I don't need to see this, dude. Just move this over and make these things a little bit smaller and make it a bigger inventory. I don't want to scroll. Like, I shouldn't have to scroll. For the equip bit can be over here. This can be a bit longer, be double the size of this. Like, just give me double that and I'll be okay. Like, I know that it's an interesting thing with these games. A lot of people will tend to hoard. You can put things in your stash and have equipment sense at your fort, but the fort part we'll get onto later, and I'll give you my actual thoughts on that one. The same problem with another issue is that obviously you can send your pet to town to sell off these items, and that's great and all, but I'm maxed out at 20,000 gold. I can't get any more money for these things. I can, however, sacrifice these items, which I will show. I could have anyway. I could show later. But there's these weird little decisions in this game. Like, I like the fact that gold isn't that much of a big issue in this. It's for more getting building construction materials. You find most of the best items, and pretty much all of the items, out into the wild. That's great. That's what you want to be doing. But the lack of inventory space, and now I can't send my pet to the town for money and things right now, is an issue. It's not ideal. I also can't have the pet buy me potions if I wanted them. I don't need them right now, but potions are very limited to whatever I've currently got. Like it says 19, I think 20 is the max. You can't have more than that. They're definitely more potent in this game, which is good. But all in all, there's a lot of like weird things with this, with just strange decisions that make it a bit frustrating. The inventory spacing is definitely one, and it definitely makes me go, I can't be bothered to pick up that much stuff, honestly, because like, why bother when I can't have the time and I don't have anywhere to put them now. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I mean, those are the two biggest factors we've had, is the issues with quests not triggering, and also the inventory space. They really have put a dampener on what could be a really fantastic game. I do believe this game is going to get better with time and when they upgrade things, but right now, playing this game, it's like, I am having fun with it. No doubt, I'm having an absolute blast with it. I think the other two are having fun with it. But you can see that there are some strange decisions. You've got the lack of inventory space. Legendarium is an interesting thing that I don't think everyone's going to like. Obviously, the visual bugs and stuff. This game probably could have done with another 6 months. Honestly, it didn't have to come out when it did. It could have come out like sort of beginning of next year, and I think they've just put out a big bug fix patch thing. A lot of fixes in it, and I commend the fact that they are aware of it. You know, they are a smaller team. They'll probably get it all done. But this game was in early access, and clearly they didn't, I don't know whether it was rushed out, I don't know. The game itself is completely fine to play for the most part. It's not so much that, but you can definitely see that it's lacking a little bit on the budget side, and that is unfortunate. In terms of the sort of the environments, the items and things aren't that like, you don't. A lot of this stuff all looks the same. That's the problem. Is a lot of it all ends up looking the same or being the same. Why is that only interesting? So my wrench, for some reason, is level 20 to level 30. Huh. That's weird, because I'm pretty sure maybe it increases when I'm with other people, but that actually is meant to do like 300 something damage. But all in all, like, it's a lot of things around the edges that show that this game was probably needed more time and needed to just have a bit more polish. And I believe the game is going to get that, but right now it can be a little bit frustrating. It's not game breaking per se, apart from the quest not triggering. That bit is kind of pace and game breaking. It's not fun, but the actual gameplay and a lot of the things in it are fine. But there clearly needs to be some redesign or tweaks and things like that. Because with the actual classes and with the abilities and skills, fantastic. However, you see a lot of the side stuff not so good. Now, let's show off the fort part of this. This is the other big factor of this is the fort, and you can do things in your fort, and it has a purpose. And this is definitely kind of like a relic left over from the fact that this is going to be an online game. And I quite like the fort, but I don't need it. I mean, for example, it makes trying to respec really bloody difficult in this game, like unbelievably convoluted, which is unfortunate. But here is my fort. Here is my stash. Your stash, you see, has a lot of items in it, which I have this one here, which I don't need anymore. Lot of items. Lovely. You've got your pet thing, so you can get your pets out. All these different pets here. I just send them all to my home. I've got tons. I should probably go through them at some point. I have 50, which is a nice number. And a lot of this stuff is all customizable. You have this luck tree, which I was saying earlier. This lets you dump items. I've maxed it out now, but you can dump items into this. Well done, camera, for zooming in on the wall. You can dump items into it over the game to give you better luck. And I have a few other items here, which you have these three things. You have the World Gnasher, which gives you fire defense when you offer up these particular Goblin Furies. We have this, which gives me poison defense, so you can offer things to that, those trophies. And this one here will give me luck, gold, basically. So that's really cool. That's activatable things. You also have these three parts here. One is the sawmill, one is the smelter, and stonemason. These give you items to do things like this. So now I can customize my fort, and we use this to move around. So I have like my, I guess, area here for what would you call it, for like storage. This is my little barracks tent. And here we have like deluxe cave entrance, place for inventory, so I can have a cave entrance there if I wanted to. I don't need to have a cave entrance, so we're going to get rid of that. Pick up. Let's return that to the inventory. So you unlock a lot of different things. We've got metal grates. It's a whole. You can spend a whole bunch of time in here, and this is a fun little, offshoot of it to kind of have like make a little home, make it look pretty nice. And these, you have your prop limit, but this is stuff I've got from my inventory. You can unlock other things. You can build various different things there. We've got flooring, we've got furniture, we've got nature, odds and ends. You can have a little cozy fireplace there. We've got a barracks tent, we've got a mausoleum that I could build if I want to. Officer's tent, I can upgrade mine. We should do this. We should get the officer's tent and put that there, and you can spin around. We can have all kinds of bits and bobs. We've got a cemetery gate. We've got a nice little arch. We've got a short one there. And you've got functional stuff, which is for crafting or for the training dummy. You've got the World Gnasher and stuff like that to help bits and bobs like that. And then you have these, which are for the respecking points, which is why I was saying it's a bit bloody all over the place. And you have these wardrobes that you can place that basically you stick gear on them, and then you go up to them and you can switch gear and things, which is kind of cool. Can I go in the tent? No. But I got myself a nice big tent there now, and like the fort side of things is kind of interesting. It's kind of a cool, unique, fun aspect to it. I will say, like, having the respec points and stuff in here, not that great. Having like the luck tree and stuff like that is kind of would be better if you could do that in your inventory. Like, it's quite visually kind of fun. It's kind of nice to mess around with it, but like, it's not like that useful in the grand scheme of things. Like having like 5% better luck on loot, great. It's just, I guess it's so much just to dump money, dump items and stuff that you don't need. And obviously, this is where your money goes to buying all these items. So, you know, those are the aspects of the game. You've got the kind of standard action RPG side of things, which is fine. This is good fun. And you have this fort, which is kind of, like I said, a relic of the leftover multiplayer part of it. But it's... all in all, my thoughts on this game are this. It is a fun, competent action RPG that I personally am having fun with and am not experienced that many bugs with. However, playing in a party can be a right old pain when things are triggering for some people and not for others, and that is something that needs to be sorted out. On top of that, inventories are just a bit crap. Like it's like lacking a little bit of that polish that I would kind of want in an action RPG and kind of expect. Story-wise, the story's actually kind of fun and silly, and the voice acting's good. Problem is, when you're playing multiplayer, we're just all talking, so I haven't really taken it in, but that's not so bad. I will say the boss fights, like the main boss fights and stuff, can be pretty fun. The bosses have unique moves. They can be pretty good. You do fight a lot of them as you open up phase rifts that will give you like chances to get more XP and things like that, and they are fun, but you will fight the same boss quite regularly. So it's not a bad game by any means. This is a game that is going to be a lot better in about 2 years' time when they've put up a lot more patches and updates and things like that. Right now, it's fun. I think the price of I think it's like £33 in the UK. So I actually think that's completely reasonable. I'm quite happy to pay that for this. I've got fun out of it, but this game needs some work and needs some patching. So if you're on the fence about it, you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll jump into this. This is what I would say. If you just want if you want a solid action RPG with fun classes, you will get that, but you will have to be prepared for some of these weird bugs, which might only happen online. To be fair, I've not played it in single player really, and it may be lacking a little bit of the polish around the edges. If you wait maybe 6 months to a year, and maybe when the game goes on sale, then absolutely pick it up. It's definitely worth the money, and these guys will continue to probably keep patching it. We've just seen this, they want to put out some content updates. We've just seen this big bug fix list, which is good. That makes me hopeful. That's why I'm not being too hard on it, because we're seeing a lot of things being added there, so that's really, really good. But just be aware that there are some issues with this game that may hamper your fun when playing it. So, but there you go. That's my thoughts on Torchlight 3. I am having fun with it, but it is kind of disappointing. It's not quite at the standard I would like. It's not quite as good as the second one, but there are good ideas here. So there you have it. Take that how you will. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this. As always, if you like the video, hit like. If you want to see more content like this, then hit subscribe. Links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below, as always. And if you are interested in seeing some gameplay of this, me and the guys playing, go check out Don Hayes' Don Hayes' Twitch. There should be some VODs up of me, Dave, and him playing, and also complaining about some of the things in this game, so you can have a better, hopefully see that going on. But until next video, I will see you then.